Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Coffee Time. I am your host, Byron. This is episode number 65. Alongside me is former NFLer Lamar Holmes, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons. Thank you for joining me. How are you tonight?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I hope you and your family are staying safe this holiday season.
We're trying to best that we can.
Same. That's all you can hope for, right? With all this new part of the corona going around.
hmm
That's sweeping the whole nation and the NFL and the NBA.
It's crazy how fast it's spreading, but you know,
What is this now? Like I think on the broadcast, if you watch yesterday, they said 96 positives alone yesterday in the NFL.
and see that's crazy. For that many players to be popping up testing positive, and it's only going to spread. Unfortunately, I wish there was other things that we could do to prevent the spread of this, but until we officially figure out ways to stop it, no, it's going to just continue to spread, slowly like it's doing.
You're right, and it's going to. It's like I know, I know the Dolphins had to take advantage of it yesterday, but I mean, I kind of felt bad for the Saints. I mean, they were out. They were without. Most of the teams were without any of their without their key players because of this dang thing, and most of the teams just took advantage.
Yeah, I agree with you. Me myself, I necessarily did not feel bad for the Saints. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Well, I know that
Because
because you played for
I'm,
the Falcons.
yeah, so I'm still pulling for the Falcons. So even though the Saints had a tough time out last night, the whole time I was, let's go Miami.
Well,
Anything that y'all got to do. So I actually thoroughly enjoyed that one last night.
and I know you had a chance to play along Matty Ice, and obviously I see the Julio Jones jersey in the background. So how was it
Oh
like
yeah,
playing with them? The
which one?
surefire Hall of Famers, both of them. They're surefire Hall of
Uh, I'm gonna be honest with you. With Julio, probably my first time out there on the field, it was just like this is ridiculous. It makes no sense for a man this big to be running this graceful, as he is.
Fame.
Julio is you don't find athletes like him too often, and when you do, you got to try to keep him.
Hmm.
Athletes like Julio, there's just he's a freak of nature. But with Matt, man, I enjoyed playing with Matt. Matt, outside of the huddle in the locker room, Matt is a cool, calm guy. You get up on the field, he might take a couple of hits or somebody push him. Matt changes. You hear a different side of Matt. So I
You
mean,
see,
but overall, I love playing with both of those guys.
you see the
Great
both of them.
leaders.
You see both of them making the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Julio has just been a dominant receiver. When he's healthy and he's on the field, Julio's a dominant receiver. Me myself, I feel nobody can touch him.
Mm.
Matt is consistent like he was in the past, and if he can continue to stay consistent, it's no doubt in my mind. Both of those, like I said, both of those players are great leaders, great teammates, just overall, just great guys to be around.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You were offensive line, correct?
Yes, sir. I
How
loved it.
difficult is that? How difficult of that is that to play out of all the other positions in the NFL? How difficult is that position?
I'm going to be honest. Like I can't really speak for every other position, but I truly feel that offensive line is one of the harder ones. Already we're at a disadvantage. We're already starting out of the stance, and we're backing up. Coming out
Mm.
of a stance, and you have to back up, and not to mention, I might have a defensive end across from me. That's a sub 4.5, 4.4 guy. It's kind of unfair. But overall, I love playing offensive line. It was difficult at times, especially at tackle, because you get put on islands, different types of plays. You're one on one by yourself with no help. Sometimes you might get the running back, but then again, you might not. But overall, I loved it.
Now, when you played, do you feel like you had to actually your position had to be muscular with the way that defensive players are nowadays? Like they're like big, muscular. Did you feel like you had to be that when you played? Because when you started out, it was about, I'd say probably roughly around your time, 2010 era, somewhere around there was when the defense players really started to get like really big. And you get what I'm trying to say. Did you feel
Hmm.
like you had to tone up to compete with those defensive ends?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coming from college to the pros, I say I was about 315, 320 leaving college. Coming to
Mhm.
the pros, I wanted to tone up. I wanted to get a little stronger. I wanted to tighten everything up because I I had a good strength and conditioning program in college, but I only spent maybe a year and a half in my college program, so I didn't really put all my time in strength and conditioning. But once I got to the NFL, there's guys that can combine power and speed like no other. So yeah, I put extra time into the weight room trying to chisel up, tone up, get that muscular build. But me being 6'6", 320, it was a little difficult at that point in time.
Now, who was your coach when you played? Was it Dan Quinn still?
Mike Smith. I played a season under Dan Quinn, but I started out with Mike Smith.
Okay. What was the difference between the two? I know you only had 1 year with Dan Quinn, but what was the difference between the two, would you say?
Uh, with Mike Smith was, how can I say it? He spoke to you, but he wasn't. It's not like he didn't. Yeah, he would speak to you. He would go out of his way to speak to you, but I never really carried on a long conversation with Mike.
Mm,
Well, with Coach Mike Smith. But with Dan Quinn, it was overall, it was different from day one. Even once he signed with the team, he immediately made phone calls. Once I was in the facility, even he would just pop up out of nowhere and start wrestling with you.
mm.
He was just the type of coach, that he connected with you. He made you want to do things, the proper way and the right way, whenever he asked.
And what
And he
about the
was
owner?
a high energetic type of guy.
What about the owner, Arthur Blank? Did you ever see him a lot? I know he's been on
Yes.
the field a lot. They showed him on camera a lot, but does he ever go like behind the scenes and in the locker room? How many times did
Oh,
you ever get to meet him?
oh, yeah, you would see Mr. Blank all the time, whether it's just, he's strolling through the locker room or he's out there on the field at practice, game days, you're just expected to see him on game days, but just whenever we're at the facility and he is at the facility, you would basically, you can count on seeing Mr. Blank at any point in time. Come up to you, speak to you, pat you on the back, just a great organization, man. I can't say nothing bad about them. I appreciate them all.
So take us through, since you played offensive line, take us through a day in the life of an offensive lineman.
Let's see. For me, it was like we get up about maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. Actually, make it to the facility around 6ish. Get your breakfast. As an offensive lineman, we were going. Me myself, I would typically go into the steam room, hot room, sauna, hot tubs. Just to overall wake my body up, loosen up my sore muscles from maybe the prior day. By 7 o'clock, I'm dressed in the weight room, getting the workout in. After the workout, I say about 9:30. We're off as an offensive lineman. We're in the meeting room, watching a
Mm.
little bit of extra film, going over new things, seeing if we want to install anything different, take anything out, or how can we tweak a certain protection. Just those little various types of things. Then we head to practice. After practice, it's typically you got to eat, you got to replenish. So as an offensive lineman, that's one of my main things is getting back to the cafeteria after we finish at the end of the day.
That's true. That's true. Especially if you know with the hot weather, which I know Atlanta is. I mean,
Whew, man, it's hot and sticky sometimes.
yeah. Luckily, you played in a dome.
Oh man, I love that dome. A bombing 70 degrees every Sunday.
Yep. Yep.
I
And the
I love I
fans
love playing in the dome.
and the warring fans, because I know you guys had good teams.
Oh, we had great teams my first couple of years.
Hmm.
I think actually my first year, I think we went 13-3 if I'm correct.
Yep.
Yeah, we went
Yep.
13-3 my very first year in the league. I mean, I had amazing experience that year. Great veterans, just overall great team atmosphere. It was great for my first year actually coming into the NFL from college. It was amazing. Man. I just overall the guys and how they were willing to teach you, how they were willing to help you, it was great.
Now, obviously, you weren't a part of it, but looking at the Falcons to this day, do you still think they have not recovered from that 28-point deficit that they lost in the Super Bowl? I hate to bring that up, but I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
think
tough.
I don't think they've been the same ever since that.
I won't disagree. I agree with you actually. I think that 28-3 loss, that we did sustain in the Super Bowl, it was a big blow to us. Because at one point in time, we went into halftime, like you said, we're up 28-3. We got a 25-point lead at this point. We're
Exactly.
expecting, if
Mhm.
anything, if we don't score anymore, we can at least hold the ball, hold them off where, we can run some clock out and get out of here with a W at this point in time. But just the way the chips fell, it didn't come out that way.
Yeah, your
But yeah,
defense just hasn't been the same since for some reason. I don't get it. I don't understand
man,
it.
it really hasn't. Like we truly have not recovered in certain positions, and just overall the defense as a whole just has not recovered after that game. I hate it. I truly do. Me and my wife, we're diehard Falcon fans. Watch the game every Sunday, and it's just watching it. Sometimes just watching the defense, you cringe.
Right. Right, and knowing that you can't do nothing on it, especially when you played, though. I mean, you were offen I mean, you can't do nothing about it because you were obviously offensive line, so
hmm
but yeah, it has to be tough. I mean, especially for Matty Ice. He's a good quarterback. I'd love to see him win a Super Bowl one of these times. Unfortunately, I can't see it with unless they fix the defense and he gets some more help on offense.
It's
I
gonna be
mean,
hard.
it's going to be hard. Yeah.
No matter what he does himself personally, like you said, until we can actually fix the defense to help him out, and not let alone the offense does have to stay on the field so we can also help the defense.
Right.
But until we can fix the defense where we can consistently get pressure on the quarterback, and we can consistently put pressure on these receivers or what and running backs, then it's going to continue to be hard because it's always going to be like a track meet in a sense. If the other team scores, we have to try to find a way to go down there and score just as fast.
So if I'm going by this correctly here, let's see. You were drafted out of Southern Miss. Take us through
Mhm.
that college career in Southern Miss. How did you enjoy your playing career there? How many years did you spend there before you got drafted?
I was only at Southern Miss. I played 2 full seasons, but I was only at Southern Miss. I'll say honestly, a year and a half. I
Mhm.
came from a junior college. I transferred in from a junior college, Itawamba Community College, just up North Mississippi. Transferred in, and once I got to Southern Miss, that was probably my really first time actually being on a big university.
Mhm.
Coming from a junior college, in my mind, in my sense, that was a gigantic university at that point in time for me because I didn't really go around and see all these other different universities. But once I got there, it was my dedication for football. I became engulfed in it, to be completely honest with you. Anything that I could possibly do, my strength and conditioning coach, I would spend as much time with him as I could. Because at Southern Miss, I got coaching staff that I really enjoyed, that I still talk to this day. Larry Fedor and Chris Kapilovich. Well, we call him Coach Cap, which he's coaching for Michigan State right now. They
Mhm.
have a bowl game down here this Saturday, actually. It was I had a great time at Southern Miss. It shaped me. It helped me really realize, whether I did want to really pursue football, because just the feeling of each and every day. Because coming out of junior college, going to practice, I would complain. When I got
Mhm.
to Southern Miss, initially I would be complaining like, man, I don't really want to practice today, just
Mhm.
because it was the same methodical, tedious things that I felt like from junior college. But once I got into Southern Miss and the whole atmosphere and the going against the guys and my best against your best, and we're spending that time in the locker room after practice and before practice, it drove me even more, to want to be better in that.
Now, what conference was Southern Miss in? Was that in one of the good conferences, or is that like a Division two? What
We
what
were
what's
we were the Division 1. We were in Conference USA.
Conference USA? So you were along of the lines of Cincinnati and all that, and USF.
Uh, at
teams?
that point in time, Cincinnati was not in Conference USA. I think they was in. I'm not sure what conference they were in at that point in time. But since we were East Carolina, UCF, Rice, teams along that line was in our conference with us at that point in
How
time. In
how
Houston,
difficult how difficult was that conference? Because I know that you just mentioned some of the good teams. Like, how
at that
difficult?
point in time, it was pretty difficult. We had pretty good teams throughout Conference USA. Granted, now we're not the one of the best team. We didn't get all 5-star athletes coming to Conference USA, but we
Mm,
had a pretty good selection of athletes, and we all always had some tough games, some really tough games. Even one of the quarterbacks that I played with at Atlanta, Dominique Davis. You know, he
mm.
played for East Carolina, and he gave us tough games all the time.
So then after you leave Southern Miss, you're drafted in 2012. Like I said, round 3. You were picked 91. Um, was that where you were told you were going to be, or did you think you were going to be higher up in the draft?
Oh no, no, no! That was a complete shocker to me. I'm going to be honest with you. Right
Mm,
before the draft, I was going to the East West Shrine game, and I asked Coach Cap, like, what do I need to do just to stand out to these other coaches, because I'm coming into a place where it's all type of athletes that's just as good as
mm,
me. What do I need to do to stand out? He was just telling me, like, anytime they need somebody to hold a bag, you be that guy. You be there.
mm.
And so once I got there, it was different.
So you play according to this, your first career start was right tackle against of course we went through before we went live, your hated team, the Saints. What do you remember about your first start against the Saints?
It was loud. Man, it was boy was it loud. It was so loud to the point that I was extremely nervous just to start with. Because like you said, it's my first professional game. I played in some games in my rookie season. I played in about 6 games my rookie season, but it was never coming into, you're the starting guy, you're the starting tackle. You got to protect this multi-million-dollar quarterback that we have behind you. And at that point in time, I was going against Cam Jordan, he was just at that point in time starting to establish himself within
Oh yeah.
the beginning of his years.
Oh yeah.
And it was so loud to the point that we had to hold hands. And I wanted to look so bad over here at the ball. I wanted to look inside at the ball so bad, but it was just like I can't do it because I have Cam Jordan right here in front of me. I have faith in my talent, but if this guy beats me off the ball, it's nothing that I can do. So I'm holding my guard's hand, and only thing that I could really do to see the ball, I had to look in the 3 techniques held on top of his helmet, where I could see the reflection of the ball. That was the only thing that I could really do to see it. So, but that game, my biggest takeaway. It was loud, extremely
Well,
loud.
like you said, you started with a high powerful offense. Who else was on that line that you was with you that helped you guys propel to averaging about 350 yards per game in that 2013 season, your rookie year? Who was on the line with you?
Garrett Reynolds, Justin Blaylock, Sam Baker, Todd McClure. And after Todd McClure, I think it was Peter Kahns at center at that point in time. It was those 5 guys, which were some I'm not gonna say old, but some savvy vets which Todd McClure, he had been around the game for I think about 17 years at that point in time. Let alone Tony Gonzalez was the tight end down there with us sometimes too. But those guys would help me out as best that they could if it came to, because telling me, what protection, what plays we got, what we need to do on this play. If we get this look, we got to do this earlier in the week. Those were the guys who's telling me, who's teaching me. Well, so those are the ones that was on the line that propel us to, those stats that we was able to put up that year.
That's right. I forgot you had Tony Gonzalez on your team. What was that like? That was on the end of his career. What was he like?
Uh, I was I was looking for it. I thought I had his jersey hung up somewhere. It must be upstairs in my guest room. With Tony Gonzalez, man, it was the true definition of a vet. I mean, the true definition of a pro, each and every day, never taking any shortcuts.
Right.
My rookie year to basically, because I'm standing behind watching practice. I came in with a broken right foot.
Mhm.
No, I came in with a broken left foot at that point in time, my fourth metatarsal. So I'm standing and watching practice, and every time, when he comes out of practice, maybe he comes off for these set of plays. No matter what he's doing, he got somebody throwing him the ball. It might be just he's running plays, turn, boom, catch, running plays, turn, boom, and he would do that all practice, even after he got out of the practice plays, and once he was on the field, and you seen it paid off. And even when we were I remember one day, I probably will never forget this, but one day I was in the training room,
Mhm.
and like Tony Gonzalez, he was just dropping little gems. He was like, no matter what, even when nobody's around, always do the right thing. If you got to stay after, and you got to do it 100 times, you got to do it 200 times. Always do the right thing, because that's what's gonna count when nobody's looking. Do the little things, and there's little gems that even though you respect yourself, that you'll think about that every day. But just to hear somebody else, a true vet, true professional that is going in the Hall of Fame, telling you these things, man, I'll never forget that. Tony, he helped me out, and I helped Tony out.
Even then,
Sometimes,
even
go
then,
ahead.
could you tell that he was going to become a broadcaster on Fox?
No, I couldn't tell he was going to become a broadcaster on Fox. To be honest with you, even though Tony retired, I think 2 seasons after I got there,
Mhm.
I felt like at that point he probably could have went a little bit longer.
Mhm.
Tony took great care of himself. Was always in great shape. So I felt like he could have went a little longer.
And you obviously, let's get back to Matty Ice. I wish him the best of luck. I hope he does win a Super Bowl. But um, what is it that you think has what do you think has happened with him, and why you think he has not won a Super Bowl yet? Is it because his stats, he's not seeing the field right? What do you think is his problem?
I mean, if you look at the stats aspect of it, he's putting up numbers almost comparable to his MVP year.
Mhm.
He's a consistent quarterback. He's consistently doing the right things. He consistently. I think sometimes with our offense, we're lacking, like right now, a number one threat, for a certified number one threat. Grant, we have Kyle Pitts at the tight end position.
Right.
But at a wide receiver, we need a legit number one threat, somebody that the defense field can take the top off at any point in time. They can score at any point in time, where they will back off and not try to put everybody just down in the box. If Matt can get a running game going, or not Matt, let alone if the Falcons can get a running game going, that's going to also help propel Matt. Because the guys, they'll start, the defense will come down now at this point, trying to stop the run, and he can get a little easy dump off pass. There's little things like this that that we have to start doing as a team, to get the offense and the team overall going, and that'll help propel Matt to not let alone just Matt, just the Falcons in general, to the Super Bowl again. We got to get there one more time and win.
Can you see Calvin Ridley being that number one, like you said, that you guys need? Because
Absolutely.
he was supposed to be that after Julio left.
Yes, and I felt like initially he was at number one threat. Now, granted, I hope everything is going well with him. He's had going through some mental health issues, and I wish
Right.
him the best in that situation. But when he was there, you could see somewhat of a difference. Matt had somebody that he could throw the ball to with confidence at any point in time. Granted, now he might not have always been open, but when Matt did throw the ball to him, he made things happen. He got the ball downfield. It was never, I catch the ball and I go down right then and there. It was I catch the ball and I get rack yards at the catch, and I'm always doing different things. So I think if Calvin really comes back, and Matt can continue to play to his MVP level, we can get back to the Super Bowl.
Another steal you guys got is that Cordell Patterson. I forgot where you guys got him from. I think it was Minnesota. I think it was Minnesota. I
Yes,
don't know
yes,
why they
yes.
let him go. He's been something for you guys.
I don't disagree with you. He's been a great steal for us, and I even used him on fantasy. He's
Yeah.
been a steal for me in my fantasy league.
He's
Cordell is like a Swiss Army knife, basically, man. He's a jack of all trades. Then you
he
put him
just
in the
needs to stay healthy.
backfield. Yes, if he can get some help too, that'll be a part of it too. If we can help Cordell Patterson out, which we're trying to by building up the offense line, but it just takes time.
Right,
We
right.
have one true seasoned vet on, and that's at the left tackle. But everywhere else, it's newer guys that got to get the field, start to gel together, and that's just gonna take some time of everybody being together, everybody playing. Which after this season, thinking maybe next season coming in with the same offensive line, we can actually start doing some things, moving people, because at this point in time, we done played with each other for so long. Well, we done played with each other for a year, so we have that chemistry and that camaraderie built now.
And it's tough, like you said, especially now in a draft. It's hard to find good offensive line help these days. You like besides the gym that the Colts got in Nelson a couple years back, you don't see many offensive linemen succeeding. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is a hard league. Who told me one time? Pat Hill, my offensive line coach, my rookie year.
Mm,
He said, no matter what you do, don't never get too high because the NFL will humble you in a heartbeat. And absolutely, because like I said, these guys on the defensive line, they have families at home too. They're
mm,
getting paid. So they're coming with their best against my best. And sometimes, their best gets you.
yeah.
Their best is just a little bit better than your best at some days.
Is there anyone that your rookie year to the years that you had with the Falcons, was there any defensive lineman besides the guys from the Saints that gave you fits?
Uh the year I actually started playing my second year, I'm gonna say that was the year of the defensive line that year, basically, when Alden Smith was going to break the sack record. That was the year when I went against Alden Smith, Brian Arakpo, Charles Johnson, Cam Jordan, Mario Williams. Uh, Out of all of those, out of everybody that I went against, the Brian Arakpo really gave me problems because no matter what I did, I would punch him in the face. I would stop his first move, and he would keep coming no matter what, each and every play. And that's I would be tired. As soon as the ball snapped, boom, I'm hitting him in the face immediately, trying to grab him. And,
Mm.
he's still fighting, trying to get off. Brian Ratpo was one of my tougher ones. And at that point in time, Alden Smith, he had the arms and the strength, to try to put his hands on you and move you as he wanted to. Granted, now I was 6'6" myself and I had long arms, but sometimes, like I said, the defense best is better than your best sometimes.
So who would you compare those two playing wise to the guys playing today? Who would you compare them to, Alden Smith and Arakpo, that you faced out of today's game?
Uh, Alden Smith, I'm gonna say I would compare him to like a Randy Gregory in Dallas right now.
Okay, fair enough.
He's
Nice.
one of those same type body type. And Brian Arakpo, I would give him. Now his skill level might not be up there with this guy, but I feel like his endurance and his I want to get back there to the quarterback is right up there with this guy. And I'm gonna say Aaron Donald,
I was going to
just
say that because I
just
remember.
because,
Yep, I was going to
yeah,
say.
he no matter what, he always I want to get back there. I might not get back there, but I'm trying to get back there each and every time.
So obviously, you faced both teams in. You faced all three teams. Sorry, in the AFC South. Out of all those teams, two-part question.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your most rival out of the three teams?
Saints.
And well, okay, there you go. That's easy. There you go. You said that. I should have known that one. And two, the other part is, what would you say? How rank them on how tough they were to face out of the three? Because Carolina was still somewhat decent with the Newton years and all
Mm-hmm.
that. still. Bucks, you had Jameis. I mean, he was on and off. And then, of
At
course, you
that,
had guys,
yeah.
Matty Ice and Julio and your defense. You guys were still there. Basically, every team in that division had a chance to win it. How tough was your division?
At that point in time, I would say for us, toughness of the teams that we face, I would go the Saints would be first. Uh, just because they always give us a good game no matter what. Their
Mhm,
fans, the Saints could have a bad team and the fans are still in the stands dancing, cheering them on, making it even louder. Then it will go with Carolina because of Cam Newton at that point in time. He was just so tough for some of our defensive linemen to bring down.
mhm,
And he's big, he can see over the line, and let alone, he's a mobile quarterback. And then the Buccaneers fell in last. Just for the Buccaneers, they gave us some fits, but it was never really like they never really threatened us like that at that point in time. They had great guys like Gerald McCoy. He gave us some real fits. I
mhm.
think one day he had Pro Bowl day on us. I think he might have had 3 sacks. So yeah, he gave us some fits.
Yeah, he
But
was good
yeah,
at it. Yeah.
yeah,
Unfortunately, he hasn't been healthy,
no,
unfortunately.
yeah. See, the
So
injuries will get the best of us.
that's right. So after the Falcons, you tried the Detroit Lions. You
Hmm.
were on the practice squad. Uh, was it injuries based or what happened there and why you never actually made it on the actual roster?
With Detroit, I got down there. In order when I signed with them, I was told that you're going to get the opportunity to play,
Mhm,
uh, and that's what they told me when they brought me in. But they did not tell me that they were expecting to draft a first round tackle. And at
mhm.
that point in time, once they had drafted a tackle, I kind of knew in my mind they're going to go in a different direction with me. And probably a little bit after they drafted tackle, the Taylor Decker actually, they released me.
Did that sting you a bit because you were told one thing and
Absolutely, absolutely. Because let alone I was just coming back off of an injury myself.
mhm,
I just broke my foot for the first time, Jones fracture.
mhm.
Uh, Signed with it came down to 2 teams for me to sign with, either the Jets or Detroit Lions. I chose Detroit. And I'm wanting to get back out there, wanting to play, and just seeing them draft a first round tackle, which, like I said, I kind of knew it at that point in time that they were going to go in a different direction. So I just got on the phone with my agent and see, if he heard anything, what else could we do? Is there anything else out there for me?
Yeah, I saw that. So then you try your luck in the CFL. How was that? And is it different compared to the NFL?
Oh man, can I be honest with you?
Go
As an
ahead.
offensive lineman, I disliked playing CFL ball. Just as
Mhm,
from that standpoint, the waggle that they allow the receivers to do behind you, I
mhm.
didn't like that just because the defensive linemen are down and they're watching to see how close the wide receivers are getting to the line, so they can try to jump that snap and get a run on you, get a running start on you. Didn't really like the length of the field or nor the width,
Mhm.
and the fact that you could challenge almost every single play. If I didn't like that because it prolonged the game. Now the playing the football aspect of it, yeah, they had some good talent up there. I can't take anything from the Canadian Football League. As of right now, I actually have one of the CFL shirts
I
on
see
right
that.
now.
I see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I can't take anything from. Nah, I loved it up there though. Also, it was a beautiful place. Just for me coming back off of that foot injury, it was just difficult trying to get things back going.
So was it because of the foot that you ultimately ended up deciding to retire, or did you want to play again?
I wanted to play again. I still want to play to this day. But it's the foot. It just didn't really come back how I expected it to, how I wanted it to after the two inch, because I did it twice.
Mhm,
Did it in 2014, then I broke it in 2015, and it
mhm,
just it never really came back how I wanted it to. Never
mhm.
really just felt the same.
So obviously, now that you're retired, is there anything that you want to do nowadays? You want to try and get into maybe coaching or something?
Absolutely.
Would that interest
Yeah.
you?
Yes. Me and my wife were speaking about it today. going into coaching because I officially graduated back in 2020. I
There you
officially
go.
finished up and got my
Congrats.
degree.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. And so at that point in time, I'm wanting to get into coaching, but my hardest thing is I want to put the same time that I can put into coaching. Other kids, other players, other men. I want to put
Mm,
that same time into my kids.
mm,
I was blessed to have two boys and a girl, and I want to coach them in any endeavors that they choose to play. And so that's kind of been what's pulling me. Do I want to go spend 10, 12 to 14 hours here at a facility away from my kids, or would I
mm.
rather put that time in with my kids?
Do they want to play? Do they tell you
Uh,
they want to
my daughter, she's 14 and she's more of, I want to watch TikTok. I say I want to play. Right this season, I know she told me she wanted to do not tennis, track. We
play?
were getting her ready to do track, which I think that'll be a great sport for her because she's long legged. But my son, my 8-year-old son, for him, I'm more along the lines of holding him away. I'm keeping him away from football right now.
Mm,
I want him to just be a kid, just to enjoy your youth. So right now, I mean, he's in sport. He's playing soccer, something less violent, less collisions, just for the long haul to prolong his body. Because I hate to say it, the other day he did tell me, like, Dad, I think after when I get to sixth grade, I want to go. I want to start playing football at that point in time, and I'm all for it. But just right now, I just want them to try to stay away from it right now.
Did you ever have a chance to play in the cold? And if so, if you did, how tough was it for an offensive lineman?
Green Bay, a 1 o'clock game. When I woke up, it was -5 degrees.
Ooh, snowing?
Game time. No, no, it snowed prior
Ooh,
that day. Game time, it was -1. Game time. As a lineman, it's not too difficult. The field was not in the best conditions. It did snow a little bit on the field. It wasn't in
mhm,
the best conditions. So defensive linemen, they're not able to get off as fast and as hard as they want to. They still get off the ball, but that normal get off, if you're playing in the dome, they didn't have that get off. So as an offensive lineman, you got to take advantage of that. So when you are running the ball, like I said, you got to take advantage. So I mean, it's pretty good. I enjoy playing in the snow. Other than just the aspect of it, it's just extremely cold. Green Bay was just one of them. Like I told them, I don't care what y'all say. I'm not trying to be tough. I'm not trying to show like I'm the strongest one on the team. I'm putting sleeves on. Y'all can go out here with no sleeves and this and that. It is cold.
obviously, you got to block for Matty Ice. That's who you play for. If you weren't on the Falcons, out of the quarterbacks that played in your time before you left the Falcons, who would you have liked to block for?
Well, of course, everybody's gonna say a Tom Brady. Of course, everybody.
I should have known
Tom
that.
Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady. I mean, mm, what other quarterback would I have liked to play for at that point in time? That point in time, Lamar Jackson wasn't in the league at that point in time. But if he was, I would have liked to play for a running style quarterback like that. Like I like the aspect of how Cam Newton was able to move around in the pocket. He could extend plays,
What
and
about Vic?
even if you did lose your block, you could count on him sometimes to make the guy miss. Where you could save it. I mean, one of the style quarterback like that, I would have enjoyed playing for also if I wasn't with the Falcons.
I think Vic was still around. I think he was with the
Yeah, I played against Vic
Eagles.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, we played against Vic. He was with the Eagles, but he wasn't still the same Vic of Atlanta years. He was a Michael Vick, but it just wasn't that same Vic of Atlanta years,
that's true.
which
That's true.
was to be expected with Father Time.
Oh yeah. So as we talked about it off air before we got on air, now I got to bring it up. The news that just came out today.
Mm.
Now it shocked me. I mean I knew he was old, but I thought he was healthy. I didn't. I was it just a shocker that he passed. John Madden. Did you ever get the I know your kids got to play the games, and you even played the games, I'm sure yourself. But did you ever get to see the man himself in person?
Never got to meet John. I wish I would have got an opportunity to, but he was one of the ones I never got to meet. Never got to see him in person. I always heard interviews and, like you said, played the video games way back from Mad 95 on Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
I played all of it. Even to this day, I still play Madden, even though it frustrates me very much. But I still play it
Same.
just because I love the games.
Yeah, it's just like I told you before we got on, it's weird because like I said, maybe somebody knew something obviously to have that documentary or something. Somebody that kind of got me thinking now. Did somebody know he was going to die or something? Because that
It
like
makes you think.
yeah, it's
Because
like
you're right, they did do the documentary on it. And the next thing you know, we hear this news.
yeah,
It makes you think about it. I mean,
yeah,
I hate it for his family. I wish him the best.
I do too.
I mean, but that's tough. Madden was he was the icon and will probably forever be an icon, live on. Just through the video games, and even the craziest part about it is most kids that's coming up after us probably really not realize that Madden is
Right, they won't
John
know who he
Madden.
was. Yeah, they won't know who he was because when I was growing up, and I'm sure you were growing up, he was in the booth. He was
Yes,
he
yes.
wasn't coaching. He was in the booth with
And that's from the era when I remember from being in the booth.
yeah, yeah. And God bless his soul too. He was mainly with Pat Summerall, who also passed a couple years back.
Man, yeah. See, I forgot about Pat. Hmm.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
two
you
were
are. I'm still right.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Those
I
two,
enjoy listen to them call the games. Just Madden voice, over the airwaves or even on a video game. It was different, man.
it was,
I'm
it
gonna
was.
miss that.
So let's talk about now. Like we're in the middle of the biggest season ever. 18 games, 18 games, no, 18, yeah, 18 games, and implemented last year. 7 teams make the playoffs. Would you have liked to play today, knowing that you had more chance to be in the playoffs?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even though you got to handle your business earlier in the season, so you won't have to get to the end to try to make the playoffs. But if you could play during in this point in time with the extra game to make the playoffs, especially if I was a skill position player, you get more opportunities to be on the field, to get your accolades or your stats or whatever it might be for your contract. But as an
Mm.
offensive lineman, I get another day, or yeah, I get another Sunday or a Monday or a Thursday out here with my guys, my fellas, my brothers. And we're out here in the trenches, fighting because that's exactly what it is. It's maybe a 10-second fight in between, offensive defensive line every time the ball is snapped. So I mean, I would love to play during this time, with the guys out there.
Now, mathematically, your Falcons have a chance to, at 7-8, to make
Hey,
the playoffs.
yes, we do.
A lot of dominoes have to fall into place. Do you think that will actually happen and you guys will make the playoffs?
And I'm gonna be a glass half full guy right now. I think we can do it. Even though like you said, a lot of dominoes have to fall in order for us to make it.
Oh, yeah.
If we could possibly start winning out these last 3 games and somebody else start losing, I think we could possibly do it. Now, if we make it in, it's going to be at a wild card, and we're going to be playing one of the better teams in the playoffs. I mean, do I want to risk that? Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, I mean, look at the teams you got to face. The NFC is stacked this year compared to the AFC.
Yeah,
Don't you
they
wish
truly are, and
don't you wish the Falcons were in the AFC this year instead?
absolutely. Well, everybody in the AFC got a chance to make the playoffs. Yeah.
Literally.
Well, see, we're in the NFC South where you got the guy that's somehow beating Father Time. You
Yep.
know, you got to go against him 2 times a year, and he possibly might have another opportunity to win it again. So,
It just depends because he's got a lot of injuries to deal with this year, just like most teams. They wanted to bring it back, they did, but it's tough to repeat. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's very tough. It's extremely.
I don't think there's been a repeat since he was with the Patriots.
Was that
I think
like
that was
what?
the last time they repeated.
Yeah, that it hasn't been a repeat since then.
Yeah,
Or
so
let's see. Yeah, I think you're right. With the Tampa, not Tampa, Kansas City. Did they do a repeat?
no,
No, they
close.
didn't.
They had their
They-
chance
yeah, they
last year.
had a chance. They lost.
They lost. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. It hasn't been a repeat, and it probably won't be another repeat because, like you said, it's so hard just to do that. It's so hard, just let alone just get a touchdown in the NFL. In order for you to, because you never have the same team the following year.
right.
Now, how Tampa Bay was able to do it, no one truly knows how they were able to bring all 22 guys back. But for everybody else, you'll never have the same team, going into the following season. So that's why it's so hard to repeat.
Now, do you think the NFL has handled this COVID thing right with not rescheduling games, playing as can be, rescheduling some games? I know they have done that. I know they didn't want to, but they had no choice to. You think they've managed it correctly? I don't think they have because of one certain player, and you know who I'm talking about, and that is in Green Bay. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say his name, but you think they've done their share to help protect the players out there on the field?
I mean, for the most part, I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're doing the best that they can with what limited knowledge that they might have. Now, do I think that we can be doing better? Absolutely. I mean, but just right now, it's so hard, man.
It
It's
is.
so hard. I'll use this example. Like I look at it like kind of like my daughter going to school. She goes to a school where it's 4,000, 5,000 people, and when
Mhm.
you're around that many people each and every day, who's to say somebody's not doing the right thing? Somebody's not. Somebody doesn't have it, and it's
Right.
just like in the NFL. Even though they're testing, it's just so hard just to keep everybody from being in contact with, coming in contact with this because, at the end of the day, us as players, we might be doing the right thing, but we also have a family that's going out in the world coming back to us. So that's the part about it that's just they're doing the best that they can, I feel, but they can do something better.
Now I know you've also heard this too recently. I think this came out a couple days ago after his decimated loss to the blowout loss to the Bucks. Cam Newton, he's contemplating retirement. Do you see him actually retiring, or do you think he'll take a backup role?
No, the personality, just the overall, just the person. I mean, now Cam might take a backup role, but he's gonna be have to be a very humble person, to eat that humble pie. Just because, just overall, it's the face who he is. He is the face of an organization. He's
Mm,
always going to draw attention because I am Cam Newton, the way that I dress, just my personality, my whole aura. But after this season, when he got cut in with the Patriots, I was like, man, you know what? Even though I played against Cam Newton, I dislike Cam Newton sometimes. I really wish, he would have got another shot, just one more shot, just to see, if that's really it. And then he did get this opportunity,
yeah,
and
it
it's just things
hasn't done
is
nothing.
not
No,
working out.
not working out. That's why I mean, when he said it, I can actually see him contemplating retirement. Maybe he's come to a conclusion he can't do it no more. Injuries.
Yeah, he got in his head because I remember listening to I Am Athlete podcast. He was
Mhm.
saying, I
Yeah.
know I'm better than I'm not worse than the number 32 guy that you got in the
Yep.
league.
I actually heard that. Yeah, I actually heard him say
Uh,
that on there. Yep.
And now you went out there and you actually played, and now do you still feel that same way? Do you feel like number 32 is better than you now because you have got humbled?
Yeah,
But
I
that's
agree.
what the NFL is.
And Another story that's been rampant too this year was the Odell Beckham situation in Cleveland with Baker. What do you think went wrong there? Key injuries, I know that played a part, but and connection wise too with them two. I know they were friends off the field, but that doesn't contemplate to on the field. What do you think happened there with that situation?
I think that goes more on the coaches. Not necessarily between Baker and Odell. They might have had some issues, but the coaches should have had to try to find ways to get Odell involved in the game more. When you're making up a game plan, your dynamic athletes. Which when I was playing, and I think they're still calling your game record type athletes. You want to make sure you have them involved in the game. You get them enough touches to where they're good and lathered up now, where the game can start to go and you can call your plays the proper way. I've seen some of the issues and some of the incidents that that they were talking about, and sometimes I don't know. I think Baker sometimes got happy feet and just didn't look back the other way. He got locked in on one side of the field, and that's the side he went. Even though when you had this open receiver on the opposite side.
Now, a lot of people, I'm not just saying he said it because I watched the show, but Shannon Sharp has said it's also because of Baker and him not playing well that he's not really that good of a quarterback. Can you see that too? Maybe Baker's just not that good like people have hyped him up to be.
I mean, he came in his first couple of years and he got him a playoff win in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now that's tough because how many other quarterbacks came in the first couple of years, took Cleveland to the playoffs and got a win? I mean, Baker's a good quarterback, but it's just like any other player that comes into the league. Unless you have something that where you can make a man miss, or you're just that much faster than the next guy. These other teams, they game plan for you too. These other players, they watch film also.
Yeah.
So the small little things that you might think is minute, such as foot placement or how you hold your hands, this other guy has watched so much film that he has caught on to what you think is nothing. And I think that's just what it is. The NFL has caught up to what Baker was doing at that point in time, and
Now,
they're starting to.
what about the Steelers? What's going on with them? Because they've been
Ooh.
blowing. They have not scored. This is a record for them since I think in 40s, 50s. This is a long time record. They've been shut out for. They should have been shut out in the half for I think 5 or 6 games now straight. What is going on there in Pittsburgh? What is going on with Mike Tomlin's ship? It's a two-part question. That one, the Steelers being bad, and what is wrong? Because Tomlin is a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. But what's going on there, do you think, behind the scenes? What is it?
Oh, I think at this point in time, it's not necessarily Tomlinson, but it's time for a shakeup on the depth chart. Now, I give all my respect to Big Ben. He's a great quarterback. He has Super Bowls. Uh, he's he probably will be a Hall of Fame quarterback one day.
Mhm.
Uh, but at this point in time, Father Time has caught up to him. He's not the same Big Ben of old, where he run around the field and make a guy miss and hold somebody up. Big Ben he's getting old, unfortunately.
Do you think it could be
So
because of that offensive line too? I mean, he don't really have an offensive line.
and that's part of it. Everybody retired. Everybody that came in with being in the beginning, they retired. They got old. They retired and they left. And Ben is still out there, trying to ride it out. Maybe one more go around. Now, maybe if he had another offensive line, if his offensive line was a little bit better, who's to say, this season might not be looking better for him. But because he is under the pressure that he's under because his offensive line is allowing him to be pressured, all the mistakes and the minute issues are being exposed.
Now, do you think it also too? Because I've also heard this too. Uh, Tomlin can't control his diva wide receivers. First, you had Antonio Brown. Then it's Juju. Now it's Claypool. You think that that's it too? I mean, he can't control his diva wide receivers. He allows that attitude in the locker room, and that's uh, also a situation there too that the locker room's dealing with. That they're not happy with that he's allowing that.
Nah, overall, I mean, I think you got to be an adamant professional, no matter what. You get into the NFL, and Grant, like you said, he has had 3 or 4 receivers who've been divas in a sense. Man, I mean, that's a tough one though. I mean, because at the end of the day, you can't fault this man for how this other grown adult is going out here acting or carrying himself on the field. Now, the only thing I can do, I can preach my message to you how I want my team to play, how I
Mm.
want y'all to act out here on the field. But when it's time to get on the field and you start to act completely different, or you go out here and act like you forgot exactly what we're trying to portray on the field, then that's on you, not necessarily the organization or the coach. I mean, so, sometimes I wonder what the people want Mike Thompson to do. Go out there and put his hands on these guys, beat them up, yank them off the field. At this point in time, we're past the older days, when the coach, could grab you, yank you, pull
Yeah,
you around. At this point in time, you can't
yeah.
do that anymore. You have to treat each and every man with respect. So it's just like, what exactly did they want from him? Like, he's trying. Like, Mike Thomas is a damn good coach. Excuse
Yeah,
my.
he is. I
He
know
is
he
a
is.
good coach, and I'm not sure if I can really think and recollect how many losing seasons has he had. Is this
Not
his first
many.
losing season?
I think so. Yeah, this
And
would
like,
be
see,
his first.
that's the thing. Is like he's managed to control these receivers, because when it was Ben, uh, AB, oh man, I forgot my running back, number 20,
Lev
Le'Veon.
Bell.
When it
Yeah,
was
Lev Bell.
being
Yeah.
able, they, for about good 2-3 year span, they did great. You didn't really hear anything coming out of from the organization. I mean, so he can control his team, he can control everybody. It's not necessarily him, it's these athletes that's in these premier positions, got to understand, and I got to be an adult, I got to be a grown up in this position, in this situation.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's tough, and it's just sad to see because like I said, it's 3 or 4 now diva receivers. You got lucky though when you played. You didn't have to deal with that on your team. Julio was a professional, and then you had Gonzalez. Even though he's a tight end, there's still receivers in my book, but you never had any trouble with any of your receivers that I can recall.
Let alone, don't forget Roddy White.
Yeah, Roddy Wright. Yeah, how could you forget him? Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was blessed, like you said, when I first got there, just because I had a great team around me, just great teammates.
Exactly.
Just from the offensive standpoint to the defensive standpoint, it was a lot of the older vets, who had been in the league, who understood how a team is supposed to be.
Yep.
And each and every chance, they would let you see it, and they would let you know. So I mean, like, Roddy White, even though he was one of the older ones, big kid. Roddy White loved to laugh and joke, cut
Yep.
flips.
Yep.
Julio,
Yep.
laid back, just overall cool dude.
Yep.
I mean, I was truly lucky. Now, I will admit to you, I was truly lucky with those type of receivers, because even once I actually did get my chance to start playing, it's not like, they didn't talk to me, they didn't do this. The receivers were the ones, who were, come on, man, you got this. They were the ones, hyping me up, giving me the motivation. You can go out here and play. You got this. Don't worry about this. Don't be nervous.
Now, do you think if you wouldn't have had that foot injury and ended your career early, do you think you would have probably had a Hall of Fame career?
I would have wanted to have a Hall of Fame career. I would have did everything in my power to try to have a Hall of Fame career. I do feel if it wasn't for the foot injury, I could still, or would be possibly still playing to this day, or maybe on the verge of getting ready to retire if it wasn't for the foot injury.
Hmm.
I just started to play, just started to actually get comfortable in my position, started to come into my own, where I really understood the game. The game slowed down for me, and I could read defenses just by looking at it and seeing it.
Hmm.
Uh,
So now I also want to talk to you about a guy who's taking the league up by the storm right now, and his name is one Micah Parsons.
Ooh.
Dallas got lucky because they wanted. I believe Jerry said he wanted Sertan's kid, which is also he's doing good. He's doing good too, and he might have a Hall of Fame career too. But they got lucky with this kid. I saw this kid a couple times at Penn State games when they were on air. I knew he'd be something special coming in the
Mm.
league, but I didn't think he would be this special. People are comparing him. I know it's early, but they're comparing him to the greatest defensive end of all time, Lawrence Taylor. Can you see that in him, what he's doing this year?
I didn't really get to see much of Lawrence Taylor because I just wasn't really focused on football during that time. But from me watching Michael Parsons and going back and seeing some of Lawrence Taylor's film, I mean, I see the resemblance, but it's just like right now we're watching Michael Parsons, man. This young man is hungry.
He can do it
You know,
all.
yes, and
Put him anywhere.
it's usually a little difficult to say when a young player comes out of college and immediately he's starting on defense. Sometimes you don't really see a reflection of at his position right then, but immediately once he got out there, he made an impact from his position immediately. I think they were out with defensive lineman his second or third game. And you got to go down there and put your hand in the dirt, and
Yep.
he did it like it's second nature to me. I'm comfortable. Got down there, put his hand in the dirt, and I think he got a sack that game. And just from that point on, he's been steady building each and every week, putting different tools in the toolbox. I mean, Michael Parsons is, like you said, they got to steal. That's the one of the type of players I hope for the Falcons to get one day.
I
Some type of
think
player like that.
I think he's honestly helped this Dallas defense. Not to mention Dan Quinn. You like you said, before you before you unfortunately retired, or while on the verge of retiring, you coached under him that 1 year. I mean, and Dan Quinn's a defensive genius from the Seahawks. So with the help of him, that's honestly propelled that defense to do what they're doing to this day. I think they're like close to. I think they're like in the top 10 or something this year, unlike what they were last year when they were trash.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I agree. It's that playful atmosphere that Dan Quinn brought into that defense. That defense, like they're out there having fun. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure in practice, Dan Quinn is running around, yelling, bouncing,
Oh yeah.
just having fun with the guys. And it's
Yeah.
translating from practice to the actual game field. They found a way to have fun and enjoy what they're doing as a unit. Each man wants to see everybody doing well. And I'm telling you, I bet that's coming from Dan Quinn.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's pushing each other just because his mindset, just his overall aura when he gets in with the players, he shows you and makes you, like I said, makes you want to do whatever he asks.
So two more questions before I let you
Mhm.
go. The first one is a two-part question. Out of the AFC, list your 7 teams you 1 through 7 will be in the playoffs, and in the NFC 1 through 7 the playoffs.
You can do me a favor. You can give me the teams.
Actually, yes, I can do that. Not in order. You've got the Seahawks, Rams, Bucks, Cowboys. You've got, let's see who else
Rams,
who's in
Bucks, Cowboys.
Cardinals.
They'll make the playoffs.
You've got um you got the Eagles who are hot right now. They're 8. They're 7 the 7 seed. You've got 49ers, and there's one other team. I can't think of the team right now. There's one other team. In the AFC, you've got the Chiefs, you've got the Titans, you've got the Bengals, uh, the Bills, In that wild card, this is tricky. The Dolphins just took
Mm-hmm.
the Dolphins took seventh with their 7-game winning streak. Um, the crap. The Ravens, I think, are still in it, and the Colts.
I'm gonna be shocked if the Colts make it overall, but they do have the running game to make it. Jonathan Taylor, man, I don't know how much tread he has left on his tires because he ran a good bit in college, but
Mm-hmm.
even in the NFL, I mean, he's looking good. Now, me myself, the running back of my choice is King Henry. Everybody loves King Henry. Wish he would have never got hurt. But if the Colts are gonna make it, it's gonna basically depend on Jonathan Taylor. If his legs can continue to carry them like it's been doing, then the Colts can make it. I mean, Carson right now, he just has to manage the game. Just try not to make too many mistakes if you make any mistakes. But other than that, you just have to manage the game right now.
That was a godsend with him going back to his old coach.
It was amazing. Like, how was you able to work that out? I mean, but sometimes it's all about timing. He got in. It was got released from the Eagles at the right time and got put into the right organization at the right time. And hopefully, he can make things happen if they're able to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing. And out of the NFC, you said you got the AFC, you got the Colts, but what about the NFC?
Ooh, what do I see? I know the Bucks will make it out the NFC. St. Louis, well, not St. Louis. I'm sorry. The Rams, Las Vegas, Los Angeles Rams. Uh, who do I see actually taking it all though? I mean, overall, I think the Bucks. I think the Bucks is probably going to be the team to beat out of the NFC just because Tom Brady. I think the guys he's going to start getting his team back after once the teams do actually go to the playoffs. He'll actually start getting his team back, his players back healthy. It's between the Bucks and Green Bay. I'm thinking out of the NFC.
So you
I
see,
really like Green Bay too, man.
that's a tough one.
A
Yeah.
Rod is a hell of a quarterback, man. Just for him to grant you got Devontae Adams, but other than that, you don't have a true big name like that, and you're making it happen, man. Well, Randall Cobb, I'm sorry, Randall Cobb. So
Well, I can't really say he's a top of the line no anymore. I mean, he's old. He's been
yeah, exactly, and he's not producing like Devontae Adams was producing.
no, no. So I see. So do you see possibly then maybe could you possibly see this happening then too? Maybe well then let me ask this then. Who's a wild card team in your prediction that might be able to make it out of those playoff teams then? Who's the wild card that you could possibly see making it or giving those teams the most fit?
Well, coming out of the NFC, I'm gonna go ahead and just be honest with throw my hat in the ring with that one. Falcons. We're not in a wild card position yet, but if we can handle things the possible way like we should, I think we know we can get into the playoffs and make a run. AFC, who could possibly do it out of the AFC though? See, honestly, in past years, I would be leaning more towards the AFC as being the stronger division because usually the AFC is the better division some years. But
Mm,
this year, honestly, it's a toss up in the AFC with the wild card position because you don't really know which team you're gonna get that week.
yeah,
Like,
that's true.
so I'm honest. Who can I say that? I don't want to leave you with not an answer on that one, but I'm being completely honest with you. I'm not really sure on that one.
Dolphins maybe since they have the
I,
last
I
spot.
would love to see the Dolphins come out of it and do something because that's my father's team.
Mhm.
But I don't think so.
That defense is strong though. That defense is something else. I've seen. Granted, it was a rookie QB and they weren't as up to par as they were because of COVID. but that defense, they showed a stat yesterday. In the last 4 games, have I think 36 or 37 sacks in the last
Man,
4 or 5 games.
yeah, that defense is pretty stout. I didn't realize that the defense was playing as well as it's been playing. To be completely honest with you, if the defense comes to play and Tua can continue to play with confidence, then the Dolphins can possibly make a run because that defense will carry them through the playoffs. But it's just if they have to play a team in a colder environment, how can y'all handle it?
That's true.
If you're not playing a dome team and you're a hot weather team, can y'all actually help? Can y'all actually handle it? And that's where it gets tricky at because some teams play well in the cold, some teams just can't get anything going in the cold.
That's true. That's true. And last question is, where do you see Deshaun Watson going after all this?
Mm. What teams? He
Because
could end up,
it's not going to be Houston because he don't want to play there no more. So it's not going to be
yeah,
Houston.
it's not going to be Houston. It could be, Carolina, the Panthers, because they need a quarterback and they're used to a running style quarterback like a Deshaun Watson. It just depends on whether they have the cap room to, actually bring him in, and this whole legal situation that he has over his head, if it's, how that all shakes out.
Hmm.
I mean, at one point in time, the Dolphins was talking about they want Deshaun Watson. The owner wants Deshaun Watson, so that
Yeah.
could be a possible landing place for him. But do you have the confidence in Tua, or did you just waste a first round draft pick 2 years ago?
Well, with the way Tua is playing, why give up on him? The way he's been playing recently. Since he got, let's
Yeah.
see, he had to come back after, let's see, I think Jacoby Brissett hurt his that one game against the Ravens, that Thursday night game when he had to come back in. He's been playing top of the line since then.
And he actually has he's getting comfortable, and
Yeah,
that's what a lot goes into. As long as you can be comfortable back there in the pocket and you feel like you got the trust and the confidence of your teammates and your coaching staff. I
yeah,
mean that's what I'm taking that he's starting to feel now at this point in time, because at one point in time, like I said, that whole rumor was going around Deshaun Watson. The owner wants Deshaun Watson in Miami, but
yeah,
maybe at this point in time they're giving Tua the confidence that he needs to succeed in the NFL. As long as you have the confidence, I'm telling you, you can feel like you can do anything out there.
yeah. At one point in time, they were thinking about getting rid of Flores this year
Exactly.
after that 7 game losing streak, and now look at what happened. That's gone out the window.
Yeah, because they started off 1-7 or so like that,
Yeah, one
and
and
then
seven.
rolled off just 6 straight.
Yeah,
Like
seven.
Brian Flores, 7 straight. Yeah, because they beat the Saints last night.
Yeah.
Brian Flores, I mean, I think he's gonna be a good coach, especially for the Dolphins if he can get the team
Oh yeah,
continue to run like how he got him running right now. I think he's gonna be a good coach for the Dolphins.
for
Like
sure,
he's handling everything in the right ways.
for sure, for sure. I agree. So I leave off with this as well. Uh, in one word, define your career.
Oh, you're gonna do me like that? Unfinished.
They couldn't have said better. Yeah, there you go. Because yeah, it was unfinished. Injury. Yep, you're right about that. I agree with that.
Somehow, some way, I gotta put a topper on my career, whether it's I can get my foot back in the door playing, or I can get my foot in the door coaching. And in the sense of when I mean with coaching is I wanna have players feeling like how my college coach had me feeling at one point in time.
Yeah,
Chris Kapilovich, I call him, we call him Coach Cap. He was one of the ones that I wish I would have got 4 years with. He made me feel like in just a year and a half, if you were able to get me to being a third round draft pick when I was being told that you'll be drafted fifth, sixth, seventh to undrafted free agency, at that point in time, but you got me to playing to be drafted a 3rd-round draft pick. Feel like if I got 4 years with him, I could have possibly win the 1st round.
Well, whatever you decide. If it is playing, I could, if it is playing, so I could see that possibly. If it's coaching, I could see that too. Whatever you decide, I mean, it'll be a success.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It was fun. Thank you for joining me on this episode 64. More than welcome to come on anytime you want. Got your info. I'll text you the episode as soon as we get off here. But it was fun. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Byron. I appreciate it. I had a ball. It's my first time, but anytime you need me to come back, anytime, I'll just come and talk to you. I enjoyed this.
Will do. I enjoyed it too, and I'll text you here and there too. So I got your info, so we'll do that too. So I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you have a great night, and I appreciate it.
Same to you. Take care. All right. Stay safe out there.
You too.
All right. Bye.